This is John from Grumpy's Diesel. Today I'd like to talk to you about this F250 we've got. Gentleman had a problem with his radiator. The heat exchanger for the transmission cooler let go. So he ended up with coolant in the transmission fluid and transmission fluid into the cooling system. And typical of a younger gentleman, he didn't have much money, so he wanted to do the repairs himself, felt confident in being able to replace the radiator. So he did. And then he flushed the transmission and the cooling system as best he could. Unfortunately, it wasn't good enough. So that's where the problem began. Not having good coolant incurred multiple problems with the cooling system and ultimately ended up rupturing, plugging up the engine oil cooler and the EGR cooler, causing further damage. Ruptured the EGR cooler, so coolant entered the engine and ultimately made the oil really thick and stopped up and ruined the IPR valve, which made the engine quit running. So he took it to a different shop. Either didn't know about us or somebody he knew or had dealt with. They made a diagnosis on it. That was partially correct, but they didn't feel comfortable with it, so they talked to him and told him to come here, and that's where I ended up with it. Found out that the IPR was stuck, fixed that, got the engine running, and found, of course, more problems with it still, with the EGR cooler and the condition of the fluids. At that point, we knew that it had overheated pretty badly, so he authorized us to tear the engine down. Unfortunately, between the teardown and the initial repair had been an extreme amount of time, and because of that, all that coolant in the engine caused irreparable damage. You can see from the oil rail, the condensation caused an extreme amount of rust on the top part of the engine. You can even see now on the valve train of the rocker arms that it's caused some damage. And the worst part of it, when we pulled the cylinder head, we found that the cylinders themselves had rusted. So at that point, the most economical repair was engine replacement. So that's why we have the most economical version of this repair sitting on the floor over here, a used engine. That we will do some upgrades to and get him back on the road. The point of this is, if you do things yourself, nobody has an unlimited checkbook. Everybody has to keep their cost budgeted. And we understand that and try and work with you as best we can. But the important thing is to not put off the repairs. If it needs to be done, it needs to be addressed, or else you can end up with a lot more work.